Hello, and welcome to a live video. So this live video is for you if you are thinking about Ghana. You have been curious about cultural immersion. You've been curious about just going to the continent of Africa. And if you've been thinking about considering being a part of Ghana for the 70th Independence Day, this is for you. I am Zakira. I am a brand strategist and a cultural immersion person, and I'm a world traveler as well. So I'm making sure that when you do travel, you have the experience of being able to go to a new place or return to a place that you haven't been to in a long time, while also being in a place where you can heal and we can really discover yourself. So this conversation is basically an overview conversation about the trip happening March 1st through 10th, 2027 to Ghana. It's going to happen during the time of Ghana's 70th Independence Day. And so what we have here also is I have happily decided to partner with Certified Africa. And if you've never heard of Certified Africa, that's why we have someone named Key here who's going to tell you all about Certified Africa. So, hi, Key.
Hello, Ms. Akira.
How
Thank
are
you for
you?
having me here. I'm blessed and
Yeah,
yourself.
good, good, good. So, let's see. The backstory is I had known of Kristen online for a long
Okay.
time because she's also from or went to school in the area where I have a lot of family in the U.S. And so then we finally met up in person when I returned to Ghana for the first time in 15 years. And I was like,
Oh,
okay, there's several things that need to happen. One is I returned to Ghana and I was a tourist all over again because there's so many new places and new things and new history and new findings. And I'm like, people need to know about this. And also because I have my own invisible disabilities. So yes, there's those trips and organizations where people need to be aware of those with physical disabilities, like they use canes, they use walkers, they can't walk very long. But what about those who have other disabilities? And so I was talking to Kristen, and I'm like, okay, there needs to be something happening during Independence Day because historically, I don't think many people understand that Ghana had been a trailblazer in a lot of ways, especially when it came to commemorating and getting independence. So I'm gonna let you just talk about that. Talk about Ghana. Talk about your name, and talk about Certified Africa. So tell us
okay.
who you are, who's Certified Africa, and why Ghana.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me here once again. My name is Ebenezer Kwame Yeboah. Ebenezer, my first name, Kwame, my middle name, and Yeboah, my last name. So, Key is actually an acronym from my name. So, the K is Kwame. Kwame means that someone born on a Saturday. So, the male version is Kwame and the female version is Alma. So, I'm Kwame Ebenezer Yeboah. But my certified African family loves to call me Key for short. So, I go with Key. But the full name is Ebenezer Kwame Yeboah. Yes.
Got
And
it.
I am a member of Certified Africa. So Certified Africa is a travel company, but we don't see ourselves as mainly um, and solely travel company, but we also see ourselves as a family that connects the African diaspora to the people of Africa through transformational and intentional travel experiences. And the story go as far back as when Christine, you mentioned Christine, our CEO, was in Ghana. So during her years in college, she traveled to Ghana as an exchange student, and she was impacted, if I should put it that way. So she wanted, the African diaspora to also have that same experience that she has been journeying for all these years, to reconnect to the people, learn about your history, your ancestry, and where we came from, and all of that. So that is what Certified African does. We are serving as a bridge between the African diaspora and the people of Africa through shared heritage, through love, through respect for the people, the culture, and so basically that is the philosophy of Certified Africa. And Key as a team member is also the bridge between the traveler and the experience. What I mean by that is that key is the person behind the scene, mainly the person behind the scene that is connecting directly with the travelers, telling their travel idea into a well organized travel experience, starting from the itinerary development to logistics, you know, and on the ground experiences throughout your stay in Ghana until when you fly back to your country where you came from. So basically, that is about it.
Hmm. Yes, and I think it's very important also to have the local be involved, because there's a difference between someone can have a group organization and then almost never even go to any of the local spots at all. And to me, that's very important. And my first time in Ghana was with an organization that was it's called Crossroads Africa, Operation Crossroads Africa, but it's
Okay.
known to be basically the 2 month version of the Peace Corps. And so when you go to a certain country, you are intentionally being amongst the locals and being of service, obviously, because it's a volunteer trip. But that really opened doors to one, fully understanding the culture of Ghana, but also understanding that there's a type of travel that is actually more impactful. So
Mm-hmm.
I know at some of the places that we're going to go to on the itinerary, I've been before, and it's also I've already vetted it as well. So I know, like, okay, this is really important. This is important not just for history but for immersion travel, and to also understand the history, because not many people are fully understanding the bridge between the U.S. and Africa. So
Mm-hmm.
why do you think the some of the places that we're going to? I'll go through the entire itinerary, but just off the
Okay.
top of your head, some of the places that we're going to, why do you think it's very important to have it on the itinerary?
Okay, so just to give you an overview of the itinerary, we'll be going to Accra, we'll be doing the Cape Coast Castle, the Asimanso Ancestral River. We also have, of course, some traditional ceremony as well. We'll be going to Ada for some relaxation and kind of celebration as well. So basically, that's the general overview of the itinerary, and we chose the places because we wanted the trip to tell a story, you know, to tell a story, and the places that we chose gives you the different perspective of Ghana. So, for instance, when we talk about Accra gives you the modern feel, the heartbeat of Ghana, bustling with people, with industries, governmental institutions, and also gives you the history, of Ghana's struggle for independence as well. We'll be going to some of the most iconic places in Accra, for instance, the Independence Square, the Dr. Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum, where he stood to declare independence. And when we go to Cape Coast, for instance, also tells us the story of our ancestry, the transatlantic slave trade, where our forefathers had to be taken away from the land to, somewhere else. So that also give us the chance to reflect, to remember who we are, and pay homage to the people who came before us, show respect to them as well. And of course, there will be also a time to pause, reflect, and relax, and some celebration as well. As I mentioned, the Adam, and we'll be having chocolate tasting. And when we go to the Inchinchi Museum, that also give us a different perspective, but in an art or in a form of art, telling a story as well. So that's why we chose these places for the itinerary, to tell a story and to also help you to immerse in the culture of Ghana.
Yes, and I also want to be sure to mention that this is a unique trip also because with me being a Black American Muslim woman, I think it's also intentional to make sure that we're considerate of all religions, we're considerate of all dietary restrictions, we're considerate of all disability needs, but also being
Mhm.
considerate of the fact that in order for you to actually heal, you kind of need to be sober. So there is no alcohol on, no alcohol on this
No,
trip.
no alcohol.
Yes. So
No
instead,
alcohol.
what
Yes.
we're going to do what I like to call the equivalent of, uh, I like to call it chocolate high. So we'll get chocolate high, right? So there's actually going to be a feature, a day on the itinerary, but before you leave, right before you fly back, right after Independence Day, but also right before you fly back, where you get to learn more about how chocolate is made. And most of your chocolate
Yes.
that you like and your favorite chocolate is actually based in this area in Ghana. So speaking of, we're doing all of this during Independence Day. Now,
Mhm.
what's going to be different about this trip because it's happening during Independence Day? What are some of the activities that usually go on, and what's actually going to be special about this specific itinerary day?
Okay. So, um, the the trip happening on Independence Day give us um or help us to remember, you know, where we came from, the struggle we've been through to um be where we are today. So the independence of Ghana go far beyond Ghana. And Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, our first president, when he was declaring independence, he said that the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked with the total liberation of the African continent. So, right after independence, Ghana was very instrumental in helping other African countries to also gain independence. So, being here in Independence Day will help us to remember where we came from, what has shaped our story and our future, and paying respect to the people who came before us, the people who made the sacrifices for us to be here today. And I remember a story of Martin Luther King Jr. during the night when Ghana was declaring independence. He was here, and when he returned home, he gave a sermon about the birth of a new nation, where he referenced Ghana and talked about how what do you call it, freedom looks like, and say that Ghana has something to tell us. So yes, arriving on an Independence Day give us that time to experience Ghana. As I said, the patriotism, the uniqueness, the oneness. And talking about oneness and uniqueness, Ghana is home to over 50 tribes and languages. But this is the time that we put our differences aside, and then we all come together as one people to, show love for our country, to respect those who came before us, and to remember ourselves where we came from, and you know, helping to also forge forward, because Dr. Kwame Nkrumah said, "Forward ever, backwards never." So yes, uh, coming together to forge forward, fight forward, and also create a future for ourselves. So being in Ghana during that period helps you to understand and gives you the opportunity to also experience um, the independence. So it was Martin Luther King Jr. in 1957, but this time it's going to be you. So yes, you have to be here to experience it for yourself as well.
Absolutely. And there's a phrase called Sankofa, which also means to look back and in order to go forward. So that's also something to keep in mind as well. So keep that word in mind as well when you're thinking about this. Now, a lot of people are going to have questions about, okay, but I don't, especially if it's their first time coming to the continent. They're probably only depending on what they see on YouTube, what they see on the
Mhm.
media, and a lot of them are probably really afraid of shots. So, do they really need to get the yellow fever vaccine card? What else do they need to get aside from making sure that they have at least 6 months within their passport from the time that of the trip? You know, before your passport expired. But what else? What else is a must-have in order to land in Ghana?
So the must-have, you've already talked about yellow fever. So of course you need your visa. You need your visa, and I don't know where you be coming from, but if you're coming from the US, or the any of the European countries, then yes, you need a visa. And the visa you can either apply for the single entry or the multiple entry. But what we advise is that you go for the multiple entry because you come to Ghana for the first time and trust me, you're going to fall in love with Ghana. And when you go back, you may want to come back and now you have to go through the visa process all over again. So why don't you get a multiple entry so that when you go back and Ghana is calling you, just get your ticket and then you fly back in. So that's why we always advise to go for the multiple entry. Is some few I think some few dollars, more than the single entry, but that also gives you the opportunity to come in and go as and when you desire. So yes, you need your visa, and then you need a yellow fever vaccination. Is a requirement to travel to Ghana. You need a yellow fever vaccination, and you can get it from your healthcare provider. And I always advise that you put it so that. Give me one moment. Let me see if I can get mine. Okay. Uh, where is this? Uh-oh. So sorry. Yes. Okay, so it's right here. I should have prepared this earlier. Okay, so this is the yellow fever card. It looks like
Mhm.
this. Once you get your shot, you'll be given this card, and this is your proof of yellow fever vaccination. And I
Mhm.
always advise that you keep it in your passports ready. So when you get to the immigration checks, you're not now going through your bar to go look for it. It's already
Mhm.
here. So yes, you need the yellow fever vaccination to travel to Ghana. So basically, these are the two requirements: your visa and your yellow fever. And of course, your passport must be valid 6 months beyond your travel date. So let's say you are traveling in March. So March, uh, April, May, June, July, August, September. So that means your passport must not be expiring later than September. So that's what it means by 6 months beyond your travel date. So you get that, and at least get two consecutive blank spaces in your passport for stamps, and you are good to go. But if you are traveling with certified Africa, we also make it a requirement to get a travel medical insurance. So that will be an extra requirement. It's not a requirement to travel to Ghana, but it's a requirement to travel with certified Africa on any experience. So that is all about the requirement. But there are cases where people cannot get the yellow fever vaccination or the shot due to health issues. If you have such issues, all you need to do is to get an exemption letter from your healthcare provider, and that should be okay for you to travel to Ghana.
Yeah, absolutely. Very helpful information. And it's also it's not as bad as you may think, right? It's just literally just to make sure you make it through customs, right? Because there's so many people going through customs so much that it just
Mhm.
makes it easier for you to get through the experience. And speaking of, there are going to be lots of flight options. I know everyone's concerned about the airline situation, the FAA, and everything. Do you have a couple of options, especially if you're coming from the East Coast of the U.S.? Either you're coming from New York, or you're coming from D.C., or you're coming from Atlanta, Georgia. There are several flight options. Um, the one that I recommend, especially if you can get it at a good price, is to get the nonstop flights from New York or from DC. That reduces your jet lag, reduces the amount of time you're in an airplane. But if you're also one of those that you traveled already, you're used to traveling, you just want to maybe add another country to your stop. There are a few airlines that have stopover programs. Ethiopian Airlines was one of them. Turkish Airlines was another one. If you have the flexibility, energy-wise, financial-wise, schedule-wise, to give yourself a couple of days before March 1st to have a stopover flight and do it that way, you can do that on your own time. But again, all of this is not included in the price. And I know that's the next question that people have. I'm like, okay, so you're helping us with all of this? No, I'm giving you the information so that you know what to do. And we're also here to help you answer any question. But now I feel like the biggest question that people really have is what comes with the price. Not the price yet. What comes with the price?
Okay. So the price come with your accommodation. It comes with
Accommodations, and it
yes,
comes
it
with
comes
the
with
meals, and it comes with transportation. What else does it come with?
okay, so it comes with, as I said earlier, the accommodation and then airport transfers and underground transportation. So right from the airport, when you arrive, the team will be waiting for you outside the lobby. We pick you up from there, transport you to the hotel. So, and then the last day when you're flying back home, we also transport you to the airport. So, the airport transfers and underground transportation. So, when the trip starts from your hotel to the places that we'll be going, there's transportation for you, an air conditioned transportation with fuel provided as well. And then the support team that will also be with you throughout the experience, but it doesn't come with meals. I think the only meal we are providing is on day two when we have the Accra City experience. We are providing a local lunch, just the lunch. And
Mhm.
on day eight, when we go to Aqua Safari, we're also providing a buffet lunch. So these are the two meals that we're providing. Apart from that, any other meal you have to take care of that yourself. And unfortunately, because we are using an Airbnb um, accommodation, we're also not providing breakfast as well. So breakfast, lunch, dinner is something that you have to take care of that yourself. That is not part of um, it's not factored into the tour price. So basically that is it. And of course the entrance fees to all the sites that we'll be going, so you don't need to pay any entrance fee when you get to any site. That is also factored into the price. Yes.
Yeah,
And when we
and
go to the site, you have your private guide that will be taking the group, you know, taking us to through the experience, telling about the history and all that.
yeah, and because there's so many amazing restaurants now, you're
Hmm.
gonna wanna, experience that. Obviously we'll have to worry about everybody eating the same thing, and there's gonna be so many restaurants within close vicinity. And the point also is for you to bond. One, experience the food, choose what food and restaurant you want to be able to eat at, and bond, right? If you all decide, if hey, we all decide, okay, let's go to this one restaurant because this is where we want to go. A lot of you will content creators too, so you want to be able to make your own, relationships and partnerships. Again, if you choose to come back to Ghana and experience even more on your own, so it's gonna be unique in the sense of unless we're already together, it you're on your own for your own meals because everybody's gonna have different budgets, everybody's gonna have different meal preferences, and there's so many options to choose from.
So exactly,
Okay.
that's the main reason why we don't include meals in the itinerary, because we don't want to box anyone into any budget or taking any particular meal or anything like that. But you're not going to figure this out, everything on your own. The team is always on the ground to help you every step of the way. If you need suggestions of restaurant to go to, the team will be there with you to provide options and all of that. So you don't have to worry about where to turn, where to go, where to eat from, and all that. The team is always on the ground to provide that kind of support.
Yeah, and it's gonna be an emotional journey for sure. So we got you. We got you back. Okay, so I think let me see if there's any more frequently asked questions that most people would usually ask. Let's see. No, I think that's it. I think most
So
people, these are most questions. Of course, if there's any other question that people have, of course, you can ask us directly. Now, let's tell them how much everything costs. So there's two different prices, right? There's one price for if you're comfortable with sharing a room with one other woman, or you want a room to yourself. So what are the different prices?
okay, so for sharing a room with one other person, that is two people sharing a room, the price is 2535. That is 2,535 USD. And for one person in a room, the price is 2,950. Yes, so that's for single occupancy.
Okay.
2,950, and for double occupancy, it is 2,535.
And you can make your own payment plan, and the payment plan is up to you. But the minimum deposit is $200. You just want to say, okay, let me make this my yes. Just like if you were imagining you're about to say yes to yourself, all you need to do is do a $200 deposit to make that commitment.
I am
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
glad you mentioned payment plan. So yes, we are not asking you to pay everything outright. There's a payment plan that we use. So, but the requirement is that you make a 200 USD deposit, and after you make the deposit, the rest of the payment is divided on equally monthly installments until 60 days before the travel time. So I think with this particular trip, we have this 6 or 7. I have to check to be very sure, but I think it's around 6 or 7 monthly installments. So right after you make the deposit, you have 6 installments to pay every month, and then after you finish it, you're good to go. But just like you mentioned, if you want to pay more, if you want to pay outright, that's also okay. Yes, but we are giving you that plan, to offer some flexibility. Yes. So thank you for
Yes.
mentioning that. Yes. And
Yes.
one thing that people also want to ask is about the weather. That's one question that people ask about the weather. So the weather in March is warm and sunny. It is warm and sunny. So, um, of course, you want to get light, breathable clothing, get your hat or your cap, get a sun cream, and maybe sunglasses as well. So yes, and make sure that you can come with a bottle water, a reusable bottle water, but there's always water on the bus. There's always water on the bus, so you don't have to worry about water. But you're also free to bring your own reusable bottle water as well. Make sure that you stay hydrated throughout the trip. And there's also going to be some form of walking, so make sure that you're also fit. I'm not saying there's going to be too much working, but some form of working, of course. So yes, make sure you're also fit for that. Take your take your water, do some exercises, make sure that you are in shape. And yes, you're going to have a very good experience in Ghana.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because that reminds me about the fashion world as well. It is so easy for you to also be able to get an outfit made. That's one of my favorite experiences because, especially if someone who never got to really have dresses tailored or suits tailored, having an outfit that is uniquely to you is such a special experience. So one, yes, bring clothing, bring modest clothing, bring clothing to be able to adjust your body to a different temperature, but also be prepared to get an outfit made because that's going to be a wonderful experience, a wonderful souvenir as well.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I think the line went dead. Can you say that again? I didn't catch what you said.
No way. I was talking about the furniture, the fashion and the clothing, and people getting their clothes made to not only
Mhm.
bring pack light, pack light so that you can be able to take more stuff back to you.
Yes, 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 yes.
Great. Okay. And I think people should also know that the outlets, even though now there's more outlets now in certain places where it's universal, where if whatever the outlet is in the U.S. and in Europe is the same thing in Ghana, but just in case, make sure to bring a adapter as well, right?
Yes, yes. And the type G, the UK type, that's what we use in Ghana. So make sure you bring, yes,
Hmm.
that type. Yes.
Great. So I think
And
that
if
yeah. What else? What
let me
else?
say that if you are worrying about money exchange, whether you can use your card and all that, yes, you can use your card in Ghana. Many of the places that we're going to, many of the restaurants, um, yes, you can use your card for payment. But you have to make sure that you notify your bank of your traveling abroad. So once you notify your bank, yes, you are good to go. You can use your card. And most of the ATMs also accept the card, so you can withdraw straight from the ATM. And if you need to change some dollars as well, the team will be on ground to help you exchange as much as you need. So that is one thing that I wanted to also put across.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that too because that reminds me also about phones. Nowadays, there's a lot of programs that have eSIM, so you don't necessarily need to get a completely different SIM card or even
Hmm.
a different phone for the SIM anymore. So you can either add the plan to your phone plan that you already have in the US, or there's something called eSIMs, and there's a new technology where just like there's Venmos and Cash App and PayPal in the US, there's also programs now where there's a certain mobile money network where you can just do it with a certain phone number, get a temporary
Hmm.
phone number, and do mobile money that way. So it's technology is growing and advancing in lots of places. But yes, of course, technology does go out. There will be occasional power outages, just so you know. So make sure that you're also prepared as well with cash, with physical card, not just the tap to pay option as well. So yes,
I'm glad you mentioned that. Yes.
great. So what else? Any questions we think we're missing? Any other information we think we skipped over?
So I think we've exhausted the questions, but of course, if anyone has any question, they can always reach out to you, and I believe I'll get that, and then you can respond to that accordingly. But I want to invite everybody to come and experience Ghana. If um, you are looking for an authentic experience, if you are looking for a place that you can connect with the people, cultural immersion, experience the culture, the food, yes, this is the place to be. Um, so this trip is not mainly about vacation per se, but is some form of a homecoming, a homecoming. So yes, this is where this is the motherland. This is where you truly belong. So come and experience the people. If you're someone who is curious about Africa and Ghana, if you've always wanted to travel to Ghana and but never had a chance, this is the time to do so. So come, and we are not promising that we are going to turn you into a Ghanaian in 10 days, but at least you get the chance to experience Ghana in this short period. So come curious, come with open minded, come and enjoy the people, come and be part of the people, and you're going to have a great experience. The beautiful part of it is that everyone is going to have something different to take away, something different to take away. So yes, that makes the experience, what um that's what made the experience worth it. So yes, come and you definitely have something to take away. Just like Martin Luther had something to take away, you also have something to take away. So we are inviting you to join the trip.
Absolutely. And as we say in the local language, Akwaba, which means welcome. So welcome. You are welcome to
Yes,
come.
yes, yes, yes.
Great. Okay, well, this has been a very informative conversation. Thank you, Key.
Thank you, Ms. Akira, for having me. And I'm always available, whenever there's any questions so far. Yes, you can always reach out.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.